Hello, all. It is Angelo, and today I will be talking about my topic on the universal healthcare to all citizens of the United States. Some brief background on this topic may revolve in the definition of what universal healthcare is, and essentially, universal healthcare is granting specifically U.S. citizens to have the access to the health services they need when they need them without burden. And that burden could be financial burden, as an example, or timely burden on, as I said earlier, on when they need that care. Those affected are the nation's citizens. And a very interesting thing here is that there is no specific law regarding the right of US citizens to have health care. And as of 2022, the US is still one of the developed countries in the world without a universal healthcare system implanted. The significance of this topic revolves around the United States upholding their moral duty of providing healthcare to its citizens. Also, as members, citizens of the developed country of the United States, citizens should have their healthcare be the least of their worries, as the country should be taking care of the citizens. Some statistics show, especially relating to healthcare, is that 8.6% of citizens in the United States during 2020, now keep in mind, this was during the COVID-19 pandemic, did not have health insurance at any point during that year. And also, another statistic worth noting is that the total United States health expenditure cost around $3.6 trillion in the United States. Thesis statement. Although implementing universal healthcare may lead to higher taxes and delays in some care, all citizens of the United States should have a right to affordable and accessible health care. Ethical principles in conflict. To begin, autonomy is seen as people having the right to self-determination. Basically, people having the ability to make their own choices. Now, this could be seen as a double-edged sword because if implementation of a universal healthcare system happens, then the autonomy of healthcare companies would be in conflict because then healthcare companies would not be able to act as a free market and charge the prices that they desire. Instead, they would be going off a base price that would be affordable to all citizens. Now, if the implementation of a healthcare system that's universal never happened, then the autonomy of people having the ability to choose the provider, healthcare facility, and the type of care they would need would be in conflict. Justice is in conflict because everybody should be treated equally. If there is no implementation of a universal healthcare system, then justice would not be served. Non-maleficence is to not do harm, and this would be implemented if a universal healthcare system was implemented. And this also goes for beneficence, as it is to promote the welfare of others. Now, utility is in conflict because this relies on the greatest happiness for the most amount of people. And since if a universal healthcare system is implanted, then essentially variability and wait times would be increased regarding the type of procedures that citizens would need, and increased taxes on citizens would happen as a whole. An example of this comes from an article that talks about the wait times in Canada for an arthroplasty, and those wait times could range from 46 days to 1 year. Laws, codes, and duties that apply. The first code would come from the AMA Code of Medical Ethics with the principle number 9. Now, this principle states that a physician shall support access to medical care of all people. Now, this could be seen as the U.S. being its citizens' physician, and that the U.S. should grant access for all citizens, aka the people. Now, another law that is talked about is the Medicaid eligibility requirements. And this revolves around the financial status, age status, pregnancy status, and parenting status of individuals. And now this varies depending on the individual's statuses. And for example, in order to be eligible for Medicaid, adults must be living 133% below of the federal poverty level. Now this depends on which state you live in. Now the resolution of this controversy. Although this controversy has not been solved as of 2022, there are still many different proposals that can take place in order to implement this universal care. Now these proposals may range from a revision of current policies, the allocation of US budget, and taxes. Going off with taxes, a move here that could be made would be taxing those of higher income. What I mean by this is that instead of taxing those of higher income the same rate as taxing those of a lower income, those of higher income would receive a higher tax so that money could go towards a healthcare system and implementing that. Also, movement and allocation of budgeting. This is where we could see what money could be moved or spared that can go towards this healthcare. And also a revision of the Medicare policy so that more people can be eligible to take advantage of that program. In conclusion, the implementation of a universal healthcare system would be beneficial as it would grant equal and affordable access to care for all citizens, essentially create a healthier population, and also represent a core ethical value in an individual. And that ethical value would be that if given access to healthcare, every individual would choose healthcare as a personal priority. Thank you for watching, and here are my sources.